All right, now let's take a look at this one. Looks a little bit more complicated, but that's only because of the ornamentation that we put on it. Mostly we're going to be working with making this shape right now. So where we left it when the clay was a little bit wetter was like this here. Not too bad, but we want to work on making the rim a little bit thinner, because remember it's kind of be too thick to really be useful. And just to refine the shape, I think making it a little bit taller maybe than what it is. Okay, here we go. As I work, I sometimes find the need to re-wet the clay. The clay has been in a bag for a couple of days, and so it has dried out a little bit. It's still very workable, but it has dried out a little bit, and so by re-wetting it, even as I continue to work it here, will help just a little bit because it's feeling a little bit dry. And the amount of moisture has so much to do with the amount of flexibility. At this point, I didn't want it to be too wet. You know, when I was first making them, they were kind of too wet to really refine the shape very well. But now I felt like it was getting just a little bit too dry. So just running it under a little bit of water, and that water will absorb in while I work on this one, which I had also wetted a little bit. Okay, now that I've thinned the rim out on all these, I want to check them for their shape and for their consistency. Looking for stuff like this here. This one does seem to be a little bit stretched out a little bit more than the other. This one's quite a bit smaller. So the difference between this one here, which was a bit smaller, and this one here, which was a bit larger, becomes quite a bit. So this one here, I'll try and just use a little bit of tension on the surface just to bring that in a little bit, like this one here. So it's a good one to use as my comparison. So has that helped? Yeah, that has brought that one in a bit. And this one here, maybe I could just stretch it out just a little bit. I also noticed that it's a little bit taller than the rest. By stretching it out, that'll also make it a little bit shorter and make it a little bit more consistent with the other ones. But it was just a little bit. Be careful. I could go way too far, way too fast. Okay, that seems to be pretty good now. Now with this, if I'm going to just sort of tap this on the table to try and make the rim consistent, I've got to be careful to support it with my palm right here on this edge, because otherwise this could easily flare out this way, and I don't want that. So just a nice little gentle, 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 gentle. It does not take much. This is very thin here. Does not take much just to make that nice and even there, as you can see. Very gentle. So important to cup it in my hands so it doesn't flare out. That's good. I was a little concerned about this spot being a little bit low. I think we're good enough there. See, I never want to take things further than they have to go. Sort of doing the minimum that I need to do. That seems good. Check the height. Height seems good. See how this was starting to flare out this way? That's not what I want. That's not the shape I'm after. There we go. That's still pretty good. And I've just sort of bent these back this way. The size is still good. Okay. Oh, good. Okay, so what I'm going to do now is I'm going to put these aside again. But before I do, I'm going to make sure that I look at them from the top and make sure that they're nice and round, as consistently round as they could possibly be. Because they are going to continue to firm up a little bit, and as they firm up, I want them to hold their shape. I'm pretty much done forming them. I want to attach the handle, the footer, the ornamentation before they get too dry, and I can also do a little bit more trimming and refining. But as they do firm up, I don't want to be shaping them so much anymore. So I want them to be just the perfect shape. This one low spot, I think right here, making sure that I cup it. I think that's got it.